Yeah, just thank you for the talk. I just wanted to go back as a historian, since you opened up the analogy to to what was a long sort of civil rights struggle in the United States, and having studied and written about white activists who went south, who immersed themselves sort of in the African American community and then felt terrified by being in the white community, and began the process of sort of deconstructing their white supremacy and white nationalism.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to me the sort of trip that you were on also.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, I know that after the Gaza flotilla, we happened to be with my wife's family, and my wife just made some sort of offhand remark about, you know, how terrible this was, and just got jumped on by the family in terms of, all the defenses that you're well familiar with. Now, one of the things about the historical civil rights struggle is that people around the country saw dogs being sicked on black people, saw what happened at Selma on the national news, in 1965, saw police cracking heads. What we haven't seen still, what's clearly in a great degree censored, including the most recent statement about the Gaza flotilla and the assassination of the young American citizen of Turkish background. That is not disseminated. That's not available. People don't have an insight into the sorts of things that you're talking about that you experienced. The individual trips, I think, are important. The witnessing, whatever you can find on YouTube is great, but you do have a kind of filtering process by the corporate media that makes it very, very difficult. And as everybody's often said, you can read more critical stuff in Haaretz than you'll ever read in the New York Times. So how have you thought about this at all?
I'm concerned about it. I'm concerned about it because I think that the forces arrayed here, even with respect to compared to the civil rights movement, are much more formidable. Back in the 60s during the civil rights movement, I think we were, in some sense, we were a more open society, and we were more naive, and there was less resistance to people seeing what was going on. And I think there was something basically American about the trajectory toward a new Jim Crow and toward civil rights. I'm not so sure that seeing the reality and understanding the reality of what's going on over there is as acceptable and palatable and digestible by the American mainstream as was the civil rights movement or apartheid South Africa, because we knew what that was. Wait a minute, racism, white people kicking around black people, that's not good. That's not all right. But seeing the buying the sort of Zionist pro-Israel narrative is so compatible with the mainstream American worldview, the culture clash, those dangerous dark people with that strange violent religion, against the only democracy in the Middle East, full of white Europeans, which is not even so true anymore. That's difficult, plus the money. At $3 billion, 80% of it comes right back here. It's wired in. And that on top of the Christianity. The basic Christian worldview is still Zionist. It's still very connected to, it's very, very much connected to reconciling with the Jewish people. One thing I didn't make that final point. I say this in churches now all the time, and I'll say it from the pulpit on Sunday morning. I'll say to my Christian brothers and sisters, this is not an interfaith issue. This is not something that you need to do with the Jewish people. It has nothing to do with reconciling with the Jewish people and making up for what you did to us. That's important. It's still important. It's great that that's been broken down. But this is something different. This is a struggle for social justice, just like, in Central America, just like in the inner city, just like in Africa. And it is your Christian duty as faithful Christians to take this on. And the problem is that if you do, and when you do, it threatens to blow up 65 years of interfaith bridge building with the Jewish people. And I'm sorry, I can't give you any comfort there. It's exactly what will happen. You will lose friends. You will be called names. It won't feel good. Sorry. It's tough. Still, it's a very, very powerful force. It's deeply ingrained. Most evangelicals are still there, although there's a powerful evangelical fringe that is taking this issue on, and I'm working on it. And it's very, very cool, actually. So you have kind of a perfect storm against this changing, which is why I'm not optimistic, but I think this is the only thing we can do. I think it has to come from the grassroots. I think the churches are the key. And what I get from the people who I meet, and maybe I'm preaching to my own choir, is yes, 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 we're with you on this. We understand. What can we do?